Who poses the greatest threat to freedom of speech today? It's a question that all libertarians have to answer. If you've watched this channel before, you probably know what my answer is. Third-wave feminists, social justice warriors, and the perpetually offended. I've learned this through both observance of society and my personal experiences. Some of you may know that I'm currently a candidate for the Libertarian Party of Canada. There was a point where my candidacy was unfortunately suspended because of my very public opinions on slutwalks and rape culture. My speech was deemed offensive, and some people, specifically feminists, wanted me to just be quiet about it. Because of this, and cases such as the Gregory Allen Twitter trial, it has been made clear to me that feminists in the West want to shut down dissent and erode due process rights. But in other countries, that's different. In Saudi Arabia, so-called feminists are allies of liberty. They're fighting for more rights and opportunities. It all depends on the context and the actions of these groups, and whether they are truly working towards equality of opportunity and freedom, or some false version of it. Not only do these groups change by region, but throughout history as well. Interestingly enough, the victims of social authoritarianism are beginning to be reversed in the West, with religious and conservative groups facing threats to their liberty. And it is now the far-left social justice warriors who are leading their own witch hunts for sexism and misogyny, real, perceived, or fabricated. Regardless of political leaning, social authoritarian groups are closed to conversation and will not lead us to a wiser society or a better world. So how do you describe the groups that want to restrict liberty in our culture and those who want to push back against them? An article on Breitbart came out this week called Rise of the Cultural Libertarians. Most people have heard of the term cultural Marxist at this point and get the gist of what it is. But writer and journalist Allum Bokhari has coined the new term, cultural libertarian, for those who take an entirely different stance on cultural debates. Full disclosure, I'm included on the list of cultural libertarians. I'm ecstatic that someone has finally thought of a more appropriate name for this movement, and I will gladly embrace the title of cultural libertarian over labels such as anti-SJW or troll any day. Because what we cultural libertarians are fighting for is so much more than that. So I want to expand on some of Allum's points in this article and clarify what this movement is before it's hijacked and misinterpreted like other movements, such as Gamergate. So what is cultural libertarianism? Cultural libertarianism is a societal view that primarily focuses on people's freedom to express themselves. It's about free speech, free thought, and free expression. It counters the groups in society that look to eliminate others' ability to do this because of fundamental disagreements or malice towards them. Now, here's a crucial point. These authoritarians don't always censor or intimidate people using the state. They often use demonization, fabricated offense, and slander campaigns. They want to eliminate opposition to their worldview by any means possible. Libertarians who are not cultural libertarians would argue that the only suppression of speech and expression that is unacceptable is suppression that is perpetrated by the state. So if the state isn't involved, these people are free to do as they please. These libertarians feel that there simply isn't a libertarian duty to try and prevent social suppression of speech, art, and expression from happening by other means. I disagree. And this is what distinguishes cultural libertarianism. Suppression of speech perpetrated by non-state groups can be just as terrible as suppression of speech perpetrated by the state. Cultural libertarians understand that the speech-impeding actions of both groups must be stopped. Faux forms of guaranteed free speech have existed all throughout history. Under the communists in East Germany, freedom of speech was a guaranteed right, but fear of the Stasi still silenced people. In Afghanistan, their constitution guarantees human rights, yet it is only on paper that those rights are protected. Vigilant groups still go around punishing people for not conforming to Islamist values. Tyranny is possible, even when a state guarantees freedom. Diversity of expression and ideas is something we should consider extremely valuable and worth defending from any opponent, even non-state actors. Also, the group with the most cultural sway inevitably manages to influence the government, which is much of what we're seeing now. Politicians speaking out against the freedom of speech of individuals, pandering to the loudest and most offended group. An authoritarian culture will become an authoritarian government. The growth of an authoritarian culture is now being opposed by cultural libertarians who are sick of it all and want to see total artistic and intellectual freedom, as Allum Bokhari put it. And they understand if they don't defend people's right to act and speak freely, no matter the idea or viewpoint, then the state of liberty in their society is at risk. This is why cultural libertarianism is so necessary. Not all censorship and narrative control is done by the government. And eventually, cultural authoritarianism becomes government law. And to prevent this, we simply need to stop censoring each other.